Amplifying the voices of women, protecting the rights of children, and alleviating some of the challenges of persons living with disabilities in society are some of the conversations that set the tone at the second annual Conference of Commissioners of State Ministries of Women Affairs with the theme Sub-National Policy and Practice for Enhancing Rights, Protection, and Justice for Women, Children, and Persons with Disabilities. The meeting is jointly put together by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and international development partners.
And the main objective of this conference, what we want to have achieved by the end of these 3 days, is to have helped you to take another look at the critical issues that affect vulnerable citizens in your states, for women, for children, for persons with disabilities, and to some extent for those who have been illegally or unlawfully detained.
With the enactment of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in 2015 and the Discrimination Against Persons Living with Disability Act of 2018, more attention is being drawn to the importance of protecting the vulnerable in the society to curb more abuses. Some development partners have conversed that these laws not only be domesticated but fully implemented in more states across the Federation. Others encourage the right to dignity and inclusivity.
One of the main areas that we are working on is to support increased access to justice for women, children, and persons with disabilities. And we have tried to do that in various ways in partnership with our Nigerian partners. One of the critical things that we have tried to do is to ensure that legislation and policies that will impact on women, children, and persons with disabilities are adopted or enacted. Part of the other thing that we are doing is to go through the Nigerian Governors Forum so that governors can also speak to each other. If they peer review each other, they will know what is working in a particular state, and they can also ensure that they pass those laws as well.
It's really a global priority for us in our cooperation. Through our Gender Action Plan, which we adopted in its last edition in 2020, we committed that 85% of our cooperation projects around the world must have gender equality as a main objective or one of the dimensions of each project.
In Nigeria, there are 47 sexual referral centers across 22 states of the Federation, which provide free medical counseling and support services to survivors of sexual violence. In reality, how many of these centers are accessible to survivors?
We have SAC centers run by private individuals and those which by the FCT in terms of the government administration we are now revamping. It's a dire need, and like I said, it's one that needs both the formalization as well as the budget to be able to be released for that. But we've started working with NAPTIP to institute the FCT VAP law, a bilateral engagement, and working with all of the security agencies within the federal capital.
The call to action for participants at this conference is to ensure the full implementation of laws related to vulnerable persons across the country. Juliet Obata, Arise News.